I have to chuckle a little bit. If you're in the car, please pay attention to driving. I hope you reach land soon. Okay, we're live. It's Saturday Morning Astro at Purdue, or SMAP, as we say. You consider yourself SMAPed. We're going to kick off the new semester with something very intriguing. That is the Slooh Observatory. We have a partnership with Slooh, and you'll learn more about this shortly. But they have given us some memberships for our SMAP students to use their telescopes, and you'll have use of the telescopes for the entire semester. So whatever we do today, whatever you learn today, you can continue to do and continue to learn. So it's a fantastic opportunity to study and observe the night sky to your heart's content, or the day sky if you want to look at the sun. We can do that too. So it's your choice. If you look behind me, I have actually some Slooh posters on the wall, and these posters are called quests. You gather images, you can put them into a template to make a poster, and we'll tell you more about that later. And there might be a little surprise at the end that I don't want to forget to mention. So, as I say, it's nice to see some new faces here from all around. And we're just going to jump in. And I think I'm ready to turn the reins over to Professor Austin. Let me tell you about Professor Austin. He's one of our faculty here at Purdue. He teaches 2 astronomy courses, each semester. He uses Slooh as his textbook. It is the basis for his astronomy courses here at Purdue. We have half a dozen rowdy and engaging TAs here to take you through breakouts, and we'll just jump in here directly. Let me mention a couple of things. This is informal. This is not, we don't mind being interrupted. If you have something to say, a question to ask, put an emoji up, raise your hand, or put a question in chat, and we'll try to respond quickly. The TAs will keep an eye on the chat and respond to your questions. The format for today, Professor Austin will give us a little bit of an introduction about Slooh, about the telescopes, about what we plan to do and what you can do with them. We'll go into a breakout, and you'll be with a couple of TAs. It'll be a small group, and we're going to ask you to do some things. We're going to ask you to collect an image, to schedule a mission, and show you about the quests, the posters that you can make. So that'll be more of a small group on 2 presentation. And again, be informal, ask questions, and we'll ask you questions too. So that's kind of the format. Professor Austin, what do you say? You want to take the reins?
I think I'm ready. So welcome to SMAP. And I, like Dr. Sederberg said, I teach a class basically using this platform. So let me share the page. Okay. So you should be seeing my Slooh page. Can I get confirmation on that? Yes, I see a thumbs up. Good.
Yeah, I see your Slooh page. We should mention that when the students go to their Slooh page, it may look a little different because you're a teacher and I'm a teacher. And so the teacher's view is a little bit different, but the items will be the same. The telescopes and the groups and so forth.
The thing about Slooh is it's an astronomy platform, and it actually allows you to behave or act very much like a real astronomer. A lot of astronomers these days don't have to go on top of a mountain and stay up all night. They can schedule remotely observations, just like you can in Slooh. And so I'm going to go through just from top to bottom, give you a brief discussion of all the things you see here. First thing is you see we're on the dashboard. I'm just going to go through these icons on the top and work my way down, I think. So the other thing is telescopes. You get a list of the telescopes that we have. There's 3 locations in the world. There's near Europe, the Canary Islands. You have several telescopes. You have in South America, in Chile, several telescopes. In Australia, it just came online recently, a large telescope. And then we have quests, and you'll learn about that in the breakout room. So a quest is basically a project where you study something about astronomy and you collect images and you analyze those images and learn about them, make a poster that you can print out. There's a community where you can share your images. So, people share their images with comments and you can comment on their images. And I think I'll be able to show you how you can share your image, and you can select what group you want to share it with. And again, interrupt me at any time. I love being interrupted because, I'm going through this and I may just say something that goes over everyone's head. So if it doesn't make sense, let me know.
Hey, Robert.
Yes, already. Yes.
Do you mind if I interrupt you?
You did.
2 things. So when you mentioned, we looked at the list of telescopes.
Yeah.
These are not amateur telescopes. These are research grade professional telescopes, correct?
That's right. They're the largest ones. Largest ones are about half a meter in diameter. So that's a pretty big telescope. Plus they have very sensitive digital cameras attached to them.
So we can get some fantastic images and have already. That's a fantastic opportunity. I have one other question, or one other comment. Probably under community, they have what do they call it? Star parties.
Yeah.
And, the star parties occur whenever there's something interesting going on. So you just had in view the star party a minute ago. What happened to that? The star party from the partial lunar eclipse that happened. Can you bring that back?
If I go to community, here it is.
Yeah, right there. Okay, the partial lunar eclipse. The star parties are here. You can look at them anytime. We were featured on the partial lunar eclipse star party just last Tuesday night. 2 SMAP students, Matthew from right here near Purdue and Mariana from Colombia, South America, appeared with me on the partial lunar eclipse star party. So you might find it interesting. I encourage you to check it out. And while I'm on a roll, don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. We'll come back to that later. Robert, thanks for letting me interrupt.
So yeah, so the list of star parties is, you just click on star parties, you'll see ones that are coming up. So there's an interesting one coming up in a couple days. By the way, and I might come back to this. Notice this where it says the date, so September 23rd, 2300 UTC. That's a universal time. That's the time astronomers use. And it depends what time zone you're in, what that means for you. Like we're in Eastern daylight time in the US right now. So UTC is 4 hours ahead of us. Okay, so if I want, if they say 2300 UTC, that would be 1900 my time. And if you know the 2400 clock, and if I can do my arithmetic, then that means it's like 7 o'clock in the evening for us that this meeting would begin.
I have a question.
Okay.
This is Wendy. We've got the list of where the telescopes are. Does it say anywhere of what type of telescope they each are?
Absolutely. Since you asked that question, I'll do that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if we go to telescopes, I can pick a telescope. Like I'll pick Canary 1 because that's one of the biggest ones. You go here, it says it's offline. It's daylight right now in the Canary Islands, so they can't observe. You can find out about the telescope. It says about this scope right there. You click on that. You go down, just give some kind of general information. It's a 0.5 meter diameter mirror. These telescopes are reflecting telescopes. So instead of a big lens to concentrate the light, they have a big mirror that focuses light onto a camera. So if you want to know more about it, you can learn everything about this telescope. You can go down here where it says view our guide. So if you click the guide, you can go down, there's a table that tells you, what the telescope, who makes the telescope, what's the aperture diameter, that lets you know how much light it actually collects. What's the focal length? That's the distance over which the telescope focuses the light. Okay. If you click this back arrow now, you'll actually access information that you didn't see before when I first clicked on the telescope. It gives us useful information about the location. So, gives you the latitude and the longitude. And, I don't want to get into it now, but if you start using some observatory software like Stellarium, which is free, you can actually enter the information for the location of the telescope and the telescope itself. So you can see the sky, you can simulate the sky as it looks from that telescope location. And as it looks through you can say you're looking at Jupiter, you'll see Jupiter, a simulated image of Jupiter as it would look through the telescope. We're lucky now, like I said, Slooh has recently added this telescope in Australia. That gives you, it's in the southern hemisphere in a different time zone, so we can see the sky observed during our daytime, at least for those of us in North America. But this is what we're seeing right now. So this is, the information is right here. It's a nebula. Looks like several nebula in the field of view. And it's actually a kind of nice image. We see some colors too, maybe from hydrogen emission, sort of reddish colors there. And I can get a live image right now. I don't have to schedule this image, so I'm going to grab that image. So I've just collected that image right there. I could collect several of them if I wanted to, just clicking multiple times. And I can now go back to my dashboard. So you can go, if you have Slooh up right now, you can go to that telescope, Australia 1, and go ahead and collect an image. And then come down and there it is under my photos. There's the image I just collected. And it looks pretty nice, right? I collected that in real time. That's going on right now. And if you want, you can download that image, right? There's a download button. And then if you want, so this is a nice image. I could write about my observation. So this is, I'm just going to copy what it says. So this is, Bennett 27. And I don't want to spend a lot of time writing about it, so I'll say, look at my cool image. And then save it. And then it asks me if I want to, who I want to share it with. So I could share it with the whole community or people in my workspace. I have several workspaces, so any of these workspaces. And then I would say share now. So, if you're proud of your image and you want other people around the world to see it and comment on it, they can. There's an image I took back in March of a comet. And I was pretty proud of that, so I shared that with the community, and I got some comments from people, and someone even took my image and enhanced it. He edited the image to show spiral features in the comet. So there's all kinds of things you can do, and that's kind of nice. Somebody out there who had the time and skills improved on my image. And it looks like I even got a satellite in the image also. That streak there is most likely a satellite that passed through the field of view when I scheduled that image. Now, speaking about scheduling images, you can go back to telescopes. I frequently go here, by the way. That's probably the tab I click on the most. And I can go to schedule missions. And, you know, let's say I want to, right now there's a nova, a star that brightens every 80 years called the Blaze, nicknamed the Blaze Star. And, you know, I'd like to take an image of that because if I take images over several nights, I might be lucky and see it when it brightens because roughly every 80 years, it brightens by a factor of almost 2,000 times. So that's a, you know, major brightening of that star. And if I want to schedule that, I can go down here to stars. And I know that it's, they call it the Blaze Star or what is it? Tau Corona Borealis, I think. So, or T Corona Borealis, they call it. So if I go in the T's, and wait a second, go down here and scroll down, there it is, right? The Blaze Star, I can click on that. Now I've selected that for my mission. I can preview the mission. This tells me what telescope is going to be used and what time it will be observing it. So that looks like it's going to be tonight sometime. So I'll go ahead and schedule that mission, but I'll just go back to my dashboard and go down here to missions. And you see the one that I just scheduled. I have a couple scheduled now, but the one I just scheduled here with Canary 2 is shown right here. And it gives me some useful information. It's pretty high in the sky, 51 degrees. These telescopes won't take an image if it's like 20 degrees or below above the horizon. So you want it above the, want it pretty high in the sky. Looks like the moon's not going to be a problem. Okay, so, and it gives some useful information about the star. And this tells me how many hours I'm going to wait. In the next 4.5 hours, it should take the image if the weather is good. Now, there's other ways to schedule missions. You know, that scheduled it on Canary 2. Maybe I want it on a different telescope. Maybe I want it on Canary 1 because Canary 1's a bigger telescope. So, or you know, if it's visible in Australia, I might want it on the Australia telescope. But let's try Canary 1. If I go to, I can do it a couple of ways. I can click on Schedule Mission again. And you see here, by Slooh 1000, that's what I did before. That's the default.
Professor Austin, I think Wendy has a question.
Oh, okay. Speak up. What's the question?
I saw on the schedule missions that you have a limit of 5. What exactly is that?
Yeah, that's a great question. You can schedule up to 5 regular missions at a time. So I could schedule 3 more right now. And as soon as one mission completes, I can schedule another mission. So you can always have 5 missions scheduled concurrently, all at the same time. And then you can even schedule, assuming Slooh is set up this way for you, you can schedule what's called an advanced mission. So in principle, you can have 6 missions going at one time. Now advanced, well, I'll say a little more about that in a minute, but you see up here, this is where you go to by default. Slooh has a catalog of about 1,000 different objects you can schedule missions to. But there might be an object that's not on that list that you want to look at, or just a region of the sky that you want to see that maybe has no catalog object in it. And you can schedule, you know, by constellation. You can, you know, pick the constellation you want to look in, or you can go by catalog. So, you know, people have, astronomers over the centuries have discovered these different objects and then put them in a big list. And there's different catalogs of objects. You can go by that. You know, there's the Messier objects. Those are all those objects that have, like, you know, M33 or M13. those are common. Usually those are the objects that most amateur astronomers like to look at. But there's other catalogs as well of different objects, and you can select from that. Or this is what I wanted to do, go by telescope. So I said I'd like to do Canary 1. So I've selected Canary 1, and what I can do is I have some options. Okay, if you see there's already missions scheduled. So if I see a mission that maybe I want to join, I can join it. Like, I don't know, let's say I want to look at the Spindle Galaxy. Go over to the ellipses over here, these 3 dots, and click on that, and I can join the mission. So I'll go ahead and join it. So I've joined that mission. And see, there's a little dark spaceman there indicating that I'm now on that mission. That's kind of a free thing, you know, I can just join that mission, but I can also schedule my own mission. So you see there's some available slots here. So I can click on that and choose an object. Somebody suggests an object. Anybody want to suggest something? Do they want to look at a planet or a comet, if there's any available, of course? Star clusters, anybody have a favorite kind of object?
Saturn?
Saturn? Okay, well, let's see if we can schedule for that. Well, see, Neptune's the only one available right now. So, and that has to do with where Saturn is in the sky. So, let's see. Well, what about globular clusters? It gives me a few options there. Good. So, you know, this sort of has to do with they're only going to let you schedule at that time, and maybe there's no quasar on the list that they would let me pick. So maybe if I picked a different time or a telescope in a different part of the world, I might, by luck, get a quasar. To find something like that takes some advanced planning usually. You want to know where in the sky the object is, and that's, like I said, you can use a program like Stellarium. And that, just so you see what it looks like, I have Stellarium here. Okay, now, yeah, out of the way. And I can pick a later time. And oh, another question, go ahead.
I don't know why you couldn't do it. It said it was able to be scheduled for me, so I scheduled one if you want to join the mission.
You scheduled a quasar mission?
Yeah,
Where and when did you schedule it?
it's for Canary 2, Sunday, September 22nd for
Canary 2.
for the Lynx quasar at 3:55 UTC.
Which time UTC?
3:55 on September 22nd.
Oh, 3:55. So that's good. If you communicate with other people,
Yep, that's it.
can, you know, like you're all in this workspace, you can communicate with each other. You might say, post a message that says, hey, I scheduled a mission on the Lynx quasar at 3:55. If you want to join me, so I'm going to go ahead and join that mission. The Lynx, you see here that it's pretty low in the sky, and the moon's high in the sky, so it's not an optimum mission, but we should get something. But it'll probably look just like if it shows up at all in the image, it'll be just like a little star probably, or maybe a little blurry spot. Okay, so those are the missions. And when a mission is completed, I mean, here are some featured missions, by the way. So somebody from Slooh, I guess, selects missions that are featured. I happen to join one of them already. I can join one of these too. Orion Nebula is always nice to look at, so I could go ahead and join that one. So I'll go ahead and do that and use up all my missions. Okay, so that's on Canary 1. So that's going to be in 12 and a half hours from now. So I can then go down and look at my past missions. So I did a waxing gibbous moon. I can look at that. Another thing that's interesting to do, if you get a mission, now I can't do that with the image I just grabbed before on the Canary telescope, when I click the little camera icon. But if I schedule a mission and get all the data, then there's what's called a FITS file that goes with it. If I click on that link right there for FITS, and I want to view that file, it opens up a program called JS9, which is image processing software, free image processing software. So there's the moon. I can play with, and I'm not very good at this, so this is something that you can learn about and you might have a lot of fun with. You can play with the colors. I can play with the colors. I can change the contrast and brightness of it by just clicking and dragging on the screen here, right? And I'm making it look worse, but maybe enhancing certain images like the lunar maria here, the darker regions. So, depending on what you're interested in seeing, an image like this might be useful. You can change the scale from a linear, scale for brightness to a log scale. That's not very good, right? So you can play around with that, or different kinds of scale, how it scales the brightness of it. So there's all sorts of things you can do with the image.
These images came from SMAP students last year. We used the FITS files that you just pointed out and JS9 software to colorize the supernova. When astronomers collect this data, it comes through as an essentially black and white file. And so the image is recorded through different filters. Post-processing allows us to take those images, combine them with the different colors, and create our own color scheme. It's fantastic. I didn't know that JS9 was part of the Slooh platform. So that's cool to know.
Okay, so I think I'm sharing my screen again, and you see up here next to telescopes is quests. And like I said, I scheduled missions, so those are just scheduled observations of objects. Now there's like a lesson that integrates these observations with interesting information about what it is you're observing, and allows you to put together your images, like Dave said, into a nice poster. And let's look at a recent one. So the blaze star, that nova I just spoke about, is kind of a hot topic because it could brighten any day now. So people are paying close attention to it. So I can search here. So it's called the blaze star. So I'm going to look up blaze. And there it is. That is the quest. And it tells you things about, you only have, this is a nice one because you only need about a week to complete it. And you only need to collect 2 images. So you go here and click on the link, go step by step through it. It has 2 parts here. So I'll go to part 1. And normally these have links in there where you can schedule an image through the quest. So, there's some introductory information here, and then it talks about the star. And then it says capture an image of the star. So what they want you to do is take 2 images at different times, and then you compare them. If one is brighter than the other, maybe something interesting is happening with this star right now. So, I click on the mission link, and it gives me some possible missions to schedule. So, there's several already, and you see I'm already on 2 of these. So I've already scheduled those missions outside the quest. But anyway, you can schedule the missions, and it gives you some information also about, the higher the angle, usually the better the image will be. So the two available missions with the highest angles are already, I'm already on those, so I'm pretty happy with that.
In breakout, let's take, let's say maybe 10 minutes, a couple minutes more if necessary, and have the students request some images, schedule a mission or two or three, and take a look at the quests. Pick a quest that you can reasonably do in a few days or certainly within, a couple of weeks. Look at when the images can be collected. If you do more than one quest, pick your favorite quest. And before we meet next month, or by the time we meet next month, send me the downloaded high-res file. I will print out your favorite quest, just like these, and send it to you. You'll have your own quest in a poster format, and you can put it on your wall or share it with your teacher or whatever you would like to do. So that's what we want to accomplish here in the next 10 minutes.
Braden, do you want me to share my screen? We can go over
Yep, sure.
some of the general
No worries.
stuff. So feel free while we're going through this to explore on your own screen and then reference this if you have any questions. As was mentioned by Dr. Austin, you can schedule general missions here from the front page. Hold on, I've got to adjust my Zoom screen so I can see my own. There we go. So if you're just interested.
Real quick, if you have any issues logging into Slooh or anything, you can feel free to ask us.
Oh yeah, any at all questions, comments, concerns, feel free to interrupt. So general purpose missions, you can schedule them from here, but we of course want to look at the quests, so we'll run up here to where quests are at. You can see a few quests have been assigned to me by Dr. Cedarberg, but we can go to this All Quests tab to explore all of the various different quests that they provide. And as you can see, there's a lot of them. Here's the one that Dave was talking about, Are We Alone? So why don't we click on that? You see we have the option to start the quest here, but they give you some an overview of some of the information that will be covered in this quest. Challenge level, so you can see that this is meant for students who are in high school or college, but anyone can really do it. I think it guides you through pretty well. So don't really worry too much about that. And then 1 day, so this won't really take you too long to do. Here is an overview of the various different steps that they'll have you doing in the quest. So if you don't want to start the quest immediately, you can preview it. So let's click on that to see what it looks like. What are the sorts of things it asks us? So we see that we get a brief overview at the very beginning about some of the information that will be covered. And we can scroll down here to see what the different steps are. So it will guide you through this sort of narrative that it wants to take you on, and then it will have you use the Slooh telescopes to explore or answer different questions that might be posed. So the step 1 for this one, hello, is there anybody out there? It's going to tell us how to start it. We're going to see some broad overview and objectives that it wants us to accomplish, learning objectives, things like that, and an introduction. So I would recommend when you're picking a quest, look at the time, of course, because some of them might take longer than a month. So if you're interested in getting one in, maybe keep that in mind. But as well, feel free to pick whatever one sounds the most interesting. As you can see, they all have a lot of information and there's a ton of quests. So don't feel like if you started one quest, you have to commit to that. You can explore around and see which ones are more or less interesting. So we can see actually completed quests as well. So as an overview, if you start a few quests or they're assigned to you, you can find them here. This is the entire quest list, and then here we can see that there are completed quests. So once you've finished, you can look at them. You see I've done the Nifty Nebulae. I got a badge for it. There's a quest report, a lot of information that you can get from it.
And this is it. So over the year, you can take images of all 110 objects in the Messier catalog. Now, I've not gotten too many of these done, only a small fraction, but this is one I recommend that you can, look at all year long. Sometimes I try going for specific objects in here when they're available, but there's plenty of times where you'll actually have a lot of overlap with other quests. So I recommend having a lot of these smaller quests open, because plenty of times you'll find that, like Orion over here, I've used this image for several different quests, or the exploding galaxy down here. So that's a good one. And the ABCs of Slooh is another favorite of mine.
Hey, Ethan.
Yeah.
Ethan, I got to tell you, you're playing with the grown-ups here when you try to tackle the Messier challenge. By the way, it's pronounced Messier.
Messier, okay.
One of our very own SMAP students, Mariana Rosero from Colombia, actually completed the Messier challenge. I saw it the other night. So at least one of our students has been working a long time on that one. Anyway, continue.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, and
Pillars of creation there.
ooh,
That's
yeah.
my favorite. That's my favorite object in astronomy. It's a good picture.
Yes, this is another one that Naomi sent, as well as the sun. I do like getting images of the sun too. Yeah. So yeah, another good quest is the ABCs of Slooh. This is again one that you can kind of just gather as alongside doing other quests. It's, you know, like it says A through Z, like Cat's Paw Nebula or Lagoon Nebula. You know, they have more technical names, but these are the kind of nicknames they've been given.
I have a question, actually,
Yeah.
Ethan. So with the images you haven't taken yet, like for Cat's Paw Nebula, or anything really, did you choose which object you wanted to take a picture of to fit that letter, or did it assign it to you to take?
These are assigned. Yeah,
Okay.
so these are assigned. Most, so like the Messier catalog and the ABCs of Slooh, these are objects that are predetermined on which ones to choose. However, for plenty of other quests, as you'll find, it kind of gives you a general category. You can kind of choose what object you want. So I've got another one in for here. Nebulae.
You know, I have to say, one of the cool things about doing these quests is that you don't just learn about the object, you learn about the history and the culture and mythology and who made the discoveries and why and how. There's so much more than just learning about the object in the sky.
The history
yeah.
of astronomy is amazing. How even something that we take for granted today, like Neptune or Pluto, was discovered. It's amazing to read about.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so like this one, Nifty Nebulae. This is one I recommend. I think this is the first quest Dave had assigned us, I don't know what, like 2 years ago now almost. So you see here, it's just 4 different types of nebulae, and you learn through about these nebulae through this quest. But there are actually plenty of different options you can choose depending on which time of year, just which one you're interested in. So last thing, like I mentioned already, just try to get a shorter quest done or something that you can get done within the next 30 days. Try that out. And if you send them in, Dave said he will be able to print those posters. Is that correct, Dave?
Yes, I will.
Yeah.
How about if TAs complete a quest? Will you print one of ours?
You'll have to pay me.
All right. That's worth it. I'll pay you.
Okay.
Take it
I'll
on
see
my
you guys back
paycheck.
in the main room.
You said that there was an advanced mission to be able to get that 6th mission scheduled.
I often will go and enter coordinates. If I can get the coordinates to the object, I might put those in. Supposedly, if you go by telescope, that's also an advanced mission.
I'm allowed 1 advanced mission, so I think it does.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Naomi says we are.
So you should be able to go by telescope or by coordinates and schedule an additional mission after you have your 5.
Someone has a question. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, sure. What's the question?
I was trying to schedule a mission for the Mystic Mountain in the Carina Nebula, but it didn't show it as an option.
I'm not familiar with that object, so it's called the Mystic Mountain.
It's in the Carina Nebula.
I'm looking right now. Yeah, Carina Nebula. I'm trying to see if it has an alternative name. You went to the Slooh
It's
1000?
called Eta Carinae on the,
Ah.
yeah, it has other names. That's why. You got to go to emission nebulae and then select Eta Carinae.
Did Carinae? Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, it shows up. It's also known as NGC 3372.
I love it that you all are just diving in with both feet and starting to collect your missions. That's fantastic. So as we close, I'll mention, send me your poster, send me your quest. I'll print it for you, send it to you by mail. I'll mention that our next SMAP will be in October. It'll be the third Saturday in October. And our